in the NFL. And now we have the odds out for offensive and defensive rookie of the year in the NFL. Let's start on the offensive side. No surprise, Caleb Williams of the Bears, 2-1. Marvin Harrison Jr., 6-1. Jaden Daniels, plus 650. J.J. McCarthy is 8-1. Malik Neighbors, 12-1. Xavier Worthy from the Chiefs and Drake May of the Patriots, each 16-1. Glancing at these odds, where would you put your early money?
Yeah, we should do this segment like we're true old people trying to sound cool. Which of these young whippersnappers are going to riz up the NFL this year? Or something where you totally butcher like one of those new words that people use on TikTok or Face Snap or whatever they're calling it. Jenks, how about Xavier Worthy? 16-1, the speediest receiver out of the NFL Combine this year. What did he run? A 4.2? And you put him with Patrick Mahomes? Look what Patrick Mahomes did for Rashee Rice. If you give him any semblance of a receiver, Patrick Mahomes will make that guy have a pretty damn good season. So a lot of this is the position this player falls into. You got to look at the quarterbacks because obviously you see guys like Malik Neighbors, who is also a very talented, freaky wide receiver, but also he's going to the Giants. So that's not exactly the same level of success that I think that Xavier Worthy will see simply because his quarterback is so good. So Xavier Worthy, 16-1. Let's do that.
Yeah, he's an absolute blur. And he's not just a guy that has combine speed either. I mean, you're talking to someone who watched every single game when he was at Texas, and what a wonderkind he was. I mean, you get him the ball and just let him go. And he's a blazer. So if you haven't seen a lot of him in college, I can assure you that what you saw at the combine was not just, because some guys are like that. You know, they'll run incredible numbers. They'll put up incredible numbers at the combine. And then you get them in a football uniform, and they're still talented. They're still fast, but they don't quite retain that speed. Xavier Worthy does. I love that bet at 16-1. Marvin Harrison Jr. is intriguing to me at 6-1. He does have a veteran quarterback who can throw to him in Arizona. And I think of all the prospects in this draft, and this is not some sort of hot take, a lot of people agree with this, Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best can't-miss prospect. Because he's not playing quarterback. He obviously has the bloodlines, and he does everything great. So Marvin Harrison Jr., I like at 6-1. I just don't see any value on Caleb Williams. I understand why he's the favorite, but there's no way I'm going just 2-1 on a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, even though it is a quarterback's award to win, like if Caleb Williams has like a pretty decent season, he's probably going to win it, but I'm not going to take him 2-1. At least you hope that maybe he stumbles a little bit out of the gates because it doesn't matter how good of a position you are put in. It is still extremely difficult to make the leap from college quarterback to NFL quarterback. The defenses are going to be much tougher. It's a tougher game. And I think Caleb Williams is going to figure that out. So if you do believe in Caleb Williams, maybe you wait a couple of games and you say, okay, maybe we'll wait for this price to drop and then we will pounce. But 2-1, yeah, that's a little too short for me. Do you want to bet on Caleb Williams?
Yeah, I think the market is just a little too hot on him right now. I think he's going to be very good, but the hype is as big as it will get, right? And now we've seen him fall back to, plus 210 a little bit. I need this to fall back more. Just because, look, he's the number one pick. We're coming off the draft. The Bears are pumped. They have a pretty good team, a pretty good situation that he's going to be inserted into. So I understand why there's all that excitement.
Who is your Monday MVP?
Ant Edwards. What an incredible performance. That dunk, that was one of those dunks where when he rises, it looks like he's at the top of his jump and then somehow goes higher. I mean, what a statement. And what a great all-around performance. And I just love the fact that we've been able to watch him mature as a player. His teammates said as much after the game. To watch him grow into this role where he's playing complete basketball and then in clutch situations recognizing, I'm not getting double-teamed anymore. I know I'm better than any one single defender you can put at me. So I'm going to dominate the second half of this game. That's exactly what he does. And, man, he hasn't even reached the peak of his powers. He's only going to get better because he's such a young guy. And good on the Timberwolves. When they made that trade for Gobert a couple years ago, I thought it was a bad trade. and the early returns were not good, but now they have defensive prowess to go along with the different ways they can beat you scoring-wise. Anthony Edwards, great performance, MVP on this Monday.
I think you certainly make a case for Ant Edwards over the weekend, but for me, I'm going to go the other direction. I'm going to go with Jalen Brunson here, simply because the story is just too good to ignore. You look at Jalen Brunson, he came into the league, was not supposed to be the clear number one superstar on a team. He came from the Mavericks, was playing second fiddle to Luka Doncic, which most players would, but he wanted to stay in Dallas, and the Mavericks wouldn't give him a long-term deal. They kept dragging their feet, and ultimately, Jalen Brunson went to the Knicks, where now he is a true number one bona fide superstar and scored 47 points in a playoff game. That's a franchise record and a big deal for somebody who wasn't even supposed to be a superstar, who's also doing it in the number one market in America, just 2 hours from where he grew up. So what a moment for Jalen Brunson. I'm going to give my MVP to him. This is the NBA playoffs that we're talking about. We've seen a lot of really low totals, and plus the under is hit in 2 of these 3 games so far. I think a lot of it depends on the Heat, what kind of offensive output you see from them, because they've had some real trouble getting going in 2 of these 3 games, scoring under 94 points in 2 of 3 games. A lot of it has to do with the Celtics defense, but also without Jimmy Butler, they don't really have a scoring punch. It's just Bam Adebayo and a lot of really decent role players. So I know the Heat are a scrappy team. Maybe you take them, getting the 10.5, but we've seen it. When the Celtics roll, they absolutely roll. Some of these games have not been close. And like I said, the Celtics have had a history of success when playing in Miami. Maybe you could take a look at a Heat team total under if you truly believe in the Celtics defense. But I would imagine that number is going to be very low. So maybe you just go with the under. But I think I'm just going to take the Celtics laying the 10.5. Next up, let's go to New Orleans. The Pelicans on the brink of elimination, where the Thunder lead this series 3-0. The Thunder laying 4.5 in this game, and a total of 204.5. Another very low total. Jenks, do you think the Thunder wrap up the series tonight?
Yeah, I do. This is going to be one of my plays. I'm going to lay the 4.5 with the Thunder. And the Pelicans just are completely outclassed here, right? They don't have Zion. They've been unpredictable in clutch spots throughout the entire season. They gave it a good effort in game 1, but it has been nothing but Oklahoma since then. And the scary thing about Oklahoma City is that we're also seeing their young guys step up in a big way. If you're talking about a team who is going to be very, very good, if not now and making a deep run to the playoffs or in the future, I mean, Oklahoma City is that team. And it makes sense. It's interesting to watch some of these younger teams or teams who don't have a lot of history in the postseason sort of get a taste of the playoffs. Like the Pacers were like that in game 1. And I know it's different because the Bucks are really banged up, but it's a situation where they kind of are feeling themselves out because playoff basketball is different, as we all know. And once they sort of settle and say, all right, now we're in our groove, now we understand the intensity of it all, now we're going to play our games. The Pacers have done that, the Thunder have done that, and I've seen nothing from New Orleans to think they can keep this close. This number seems short to me. I will lay the points.